I think I'll remember right after
Good.
that. Yes.
Good. So I will call the first panelist for this. We have Nolin. No. Sorry. We have Jason. Jason from Tando. Yeah, you're going to have to be warmer than that. Jason from Tando.
It's the reason we can spend our Bitcoin anywhere after all. Nombuyoselo from Minmo. There she comes.
Then we have Wycliffe Osano from Kaze. Wycliffe. Appreciate him better.
Then we have Fidel from Bitika. There he is. I see you.
Last but not least, we have Isaac from Starstreak. Starstreak. Isaac. Hi, Isaac.
Doesn't say who the moderator is.
He has already sat.
No, you need to swap. So you two just need to swap. Jason, swap.
So sorry for.
Excusez-moi. We just want to make sure you guys are right underneath your. Well, it's almost right. Okay. So we shall leave the stage now.
All right. Hello. Okay. Welcome, everybody. Goodbye, Manai. So Africa-led Bitcoin adoption. Everyone up here on this stage, I'm excited to be with them because everyone up here are leaders that saw a problem in their community and they had the courage to stand up and solve it. And so that's kind of one of the things that excites me the most about Bitcoin is that this is a nascent industry and we can use these new tools to solve so many new problems. So before I kick off this panel, I just want to start with a quote. Yeah. Oh. Okay. All right. So I want to start off with a quote from Magat Wade, a Senegalese entrepreneur. Anyone can point out what's wrong. That takes zero courage. Building something that actually works, a factory, a product, a company that employs your people, that takes everything. Entrepreneurship is agency in its purest form. You stop asking for help and start making it happen yourself. So I want you guys to take that and realize that you have the agency to go solve problems. And when you solve problems, you've got a business. So let's see. So I look at all these people up here kind of as superheroes, right? Because like I said, they found the courage within them and to go out and solve problems for their community. And so to introduce each other, we're going to do something a little bit different that hasn't typically been done on a panel. And so we're going to take turns introducing each other. And so I'll start off. I will start with Nombu here, and I'm going to try to introduce her product, and then she can correct me and add anything else on that I may have missed, and then she will pass the baton to someone else that she wants to introduce. So my understanding of what Minmo does is they're kind of recreating the M-Pesa agent model, but on a Bitcoin standard. So one of the reasons that M-Pesa was so successful is that they empowered people in the community to act as human agents, like human ATMs, where you could take your cash and you can convert it into mobile money, and vice versa. You could take mobile money, convert it into cash. And so there's people around the country that had kiosks. They were selling sweets and milk and bread and your basic needs. And so M-Pesa went out there person by person and said, hey, would you like to add an additional business model to what you're already doing? And you can help us grow this network. And so now with Minmo, they're trying to recreate that on a Bitcoin standard so that you can go to anyone in the country, you can become an agent, and you can use an agent to turn your fiat into Bitcoin and vice versa. And then the next extension of that is kind of what Nolene was talking about, is it could even be robotic agents, so computers basically. How'd I do?
You did fantastic. Let's just pick up from there. An M-Pesa network on a Bitcoin standard. That's fantastic, and that sums up what we're doing. The bet we're trying to make is to empower individuals within their community. this adoption is the combination of the tech that we love and the people that we trust. So thank you, Jason. I will be introducing Satstrix, and that is Isaac, who is the founder of Satstrix. And Satstrix is a technology that allows you to dollar cost average on Bitcoin, and you can be able to schedule your deposits in a freedom autonomous way. Satstrix is also built on a Minmo agent in the background running it, and our fantastic engineer Isaac was able to re-implement his version of what his imagination for Bitcoin is, and how he's able to use his own agents to be able to automate deposits in Bitcoin. How did I do?
You did great. Thank you for the introduction. So my goal with Satstreak is to essentially allow people to create alerts to remind them to buy Bitcoin, to actually buy Bitcoin, and to keep track of their Bitcoin purchasing behavior. So we are always told to buy Bitcoin, but then the tools to continually do it are lacking, and I saw that as a gap. And that's why I chose to build Satstreak. As Nombo was mentioned, you're essentially buying Bitcoin from a Minmo agent. So you're doing it P2P, and that means you're doing it in a way that enhances your privacy, and you're doing it with the benefits of self-custodial. Yep. So I'll introduce Kaze. So my understanding on Kaze is a platform that rewards contributors to identify local spots that you can pay in Bitcoin and get rewarded. So as a contributor, you access the Kaze platform, you identify spots in your community where you can spend in Bitcoin and get rewarded through the built-in wallet, right?
Yeah, I think there was a slight confusion, but he definitely nailed it. Yeah, so Kaze is definitely an independent map-based platform that rewards contributors for adding and verifying real-world spots. Yeah, so that was fantastic from Isaac. Yeah, so personally, I'm gonna introduce Tando.
I mean, I can't, because then I would have to introduce Patika, which I've already done. So yeah, Patika.
Yeah, I'm gonna introduce Bitika. Yeah, so Bitika Bitika allows you to buy Bitcoin instantly in Kenya in a second. So yeah, you can easily access Bitcoin through Bitika in a second via M-Pesa. So for anybody who has used M-Pesa, you can directly go to Bitika and buy Bitcoin instantly. And it facilitates micro. You can buy Bitcoin from as low as 20 Kenyan shillings. So yeah, I think everybody can gain access to Bitcoin through Bitika. Yeah, so how did I do it?
Awesome. I think that was a very perfect technical description of what Bitika is. What I'd add to that description, or maybe some cherry on top of it, is Bitika is essentially a catalyst that's here to catalyze the rate of Bitcoin adoption in Africa, right? So we are here to, we're in a transition where we need to move from the traditional system, fiat money, to this revolutionary new hard money that we have, Bitcoin. So we are here to help an easy transition to this new technology. So yeah, with Bitika, we are here to seamlessly help those who want to convert their fiat into sats in the most accessible, simplest, and reasonable manner. Yeah. Thanks. So I think that leaves me with the last product on this panel, which is Tando. I'm pretty sure everyone here has had or used Tando. If not, then keep up, please keep up. Yeah, so Tando is this lovely app that works in a very magical way. It allows you as a Bitcoiner to seamlessly spend your Bitcoin anywhere in Kenya I mean, everywhere in Kenya, we accept payments via M-Pesa. So basically with Tando, you as a Bitcoiner, you can be able to live free with your sats and just pay for things like you should, right? So we've all seen, we've received a number of guests or visitors coming into Kenya. And I mean, the first app they use after landing is Tando, right? Because they need to pay for things, they need to move, they need to get from the airport to the apartment. How do they pay for that cab? So Tando enables them to, with their Bitcoin, to pay for that taxi, to pay for the food, to pay for the groceries, to pay for basically anything. That's Tando.
No notes. Perfect. So one of the reasons why I wanted to do that unusual introduction was because this is a very new industry. None of this has ever been done before. We're all trying to figure it out together, right? And so having a community of other builders and say, here's what I did, here's what worked, here's what didn't work, that helps all of us. And so that's a very powerful thing. And because it's a neutral network, right? So when Fidel or Isaac create a tool that helps you acquire sats, and then you can spend it with Bitcoin through an agent and plotting places on a map, you know, we're all benefiting together. We're growing this whole industry together. And so I think that's pretty cool. I do have one question about the map. Can I plot potholes in the country on Kaze and then tell the government to go fix them, or tell someone in the community to go fix them? Because I really want that solution personally. A way to plot potholes so people can know where to go fix these potholes so I can go drive easier.
Yeah, I think that's a remarkable one. Yeah, so definitely, definitely, Kaze will be an independent map, and we are not targeting all sports globally, but we are targeting unique sports to create quests based on these particular unique spots.
Every pothole is unique.
Okay. Okay, so we've not yet gone through that route, but we're going to list things like supermarkets, public parkings, public toilets. I believe if you come here your first day, you don't know where a public toilet is. So through Kaze Map, you can actually hit the public toilet dashboard and it can connect you to real-time public toilets around you, real-time public parking. So yeah, typically unique spots are the ones we are targeting.
Okay, thanks for that. So as you can tell, I'm all about the lively discussion, interaction. So don't feel like it's like A, B, C. You go in order. Everyone jump in whenever you have something to add, make it more interesting for the crowd. So also the questions were kind of crowdsourced amongst us and others. So one of the first questions, as Bitcoiners, we all know Bitcoin's not a scam, but there's this aura, I guess, throughout the world, especially here in Africa, that Bitcoin's a scam. Fidel wanted to talk about this one. Fidel, what tools and how have you been able to convince people that Bitcoin is indeed a legitimate asset for people to use?
Wow. I think this is, I don't think I'll ever get tired of saying Bitcoin is not a scam. Who here thinks Bitcoin is a scam? Okay, no hands up. That's a good sign. But just in case you didn't put your hands up, Bitcoin is not a scam, right? Bitcoin is an open source project. You can see what runs. It's a software, right? You can see what runs underneath it. It's a public open system. It's permissionless as well. Anyone in this room can get to write, read, and do whatever they want to with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just a tool, like any other tool that scammers use. I mean, scam is just scam is just there because of real scams that come from us. I could have the option to choose to scam someone here, right? So it's not entirely a scam tool. Bitcoin is not a scam tool. Scam is just there because of different people that choose to be bad actors, right? And that's the part that's one of the features of a permissionless system, a system where anyone has the free will to do anything they want to, right? And so because of that, we sometimes get that rough introduction into Bitcoin via the scamming side of the world. But okay, you guys want to chime in?
I want to chime in and say, I like what he's saying, that all tech is neutral and that we have bad actors, even in fiat. We know this very well with our government. So Bitcoin is not a scam. It just is a permissionless neutral tech that will in itself allow bad actors to use it. But people like Tando, myself, Fidel, Isaac, Wycliffe, we are putting our face out here to legitimize the optionality of using this tech in a beneficial way for communities.
Yeah, and I mean you put it right well. I mean, this is a panel of 5 products that are working, that are live, that have been working for such a long time, processing real transactions. We've had 0 scam issues within the ecosystem. So clearly Bitcoin is not a scam. Any other thing apart from Bitcoin maybe could be a scam. Yeah?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just to add on that, I think Bitcoin is like, say, the black sheep of digital assets. Well, in really essence, it's the thing with the most depth. Like all these other altcoins are shaped to look more like fiat systems. But then with Bitcoin, it's verifiable, it's permissionless, and anyone can use it at any time. We see it amongst us. You're free to build whatever solution you want for your local society without asking for permission from anyone. I think a gap that's existing in terms of people identifying with Bitcoin as a scam is in terms of education, because people approach it from a point of lack of awareness of what Bitcoin is and what it's really about. The painful experiences help to shape those opinions. But then we have a role as people building and people, especially people building, to build education into our solutions, to allow people to understand what the tool that's empowering them really is. Yeah.
Yeah, I would just add, like, one of the great features of Tondo is, like, even if Bitcoin was a scam, you can take this scam asset and you can go turn it into real things that you care about. A real shirt, a real pair of shoes, a real drink, the things that you really want in your life, right? So we're kind of like educating people through experience that, okay, Bitcoin is real because it feels like money now. Now I could turn it into something tangible that I need in my life. So Isaac, you actually touched on altcoins / other cryptocurrencies. So maybe if we just go down the line and kind of, so I've got a list here: gold, cryptocurrencies, stable coins, which are unstable, by the way, and then equities like shares of Safaricom or Tesla. Maybe each of you take one and kind of explain to some newbies how Bitcoin differs. Like, what are the different properties of Bitcoin? Because you've got a million options what to do with your money. We know the fiat currency is guaranteed to lose value, so you have to do something with it. Otherwise, you're just robbing yourself essentially of holding on fiat. So you have to do something. Why is Bitcoin better? Again, the options are gold, cryptocurrencies, stable coins, or equities. Anyone jump in that wants to go first?
Yeah, I think I can take that. Yeah, so actually, Bitcoin is actually the best option if you compare it with the other ones that you just mentioned, like gold, fiat. Because first of all, if you check on Africa, especially East Africa, like it's really been a hurdle to kind of like send payment from Kenya to Tanzania to Uganda. So there's a lot of payment channels and a lot of very blockers towards entry. KYC, like to open a bank, KYC, you need KRA. There's a lot of all these blockers, but with Bitcoin, it's just a 1 minute setup and boom, you have access to a global economy, and you can actually transact in second, and like there's no borderlines, and it's super fantastic. So yeah, I think Bitcoin can be the one clear payment model besides all these payment modes that we do have. So Bitcoin can actually facilitate everything at ease. And yeah, actually,
Okay,
Bitcoin has the
hold on.
power also to convert.
Pick one and say why it's weak compared to Bitcoin. Like pick one of these tools.
Yes.
And why is Bitcoin better than one specific? Like what is an
Okay, yeah.
inefficiency in, I'm going to give you gold. What's wrong with gold?
Let me take fiat. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
not an option.
Yeah, let me take fiat.
All right, you're taking stable coins then.
Yes, I'm taking stable coins. Yeah, actually, if you transact on fiat, there's a lot of validation checks, interbank processes that takes most of them. If you transact globally, takes up to 3 days for validation checks. But with Bitcoin, everything is instantaneous in a second. So there's no delay time. It's cheap and yeah, honestly, it's fantastic. And yeah, I'm a big advocate of Bitcoin.
All right, who wants gold?
I'll take
Okay.
gold.
All right, go.
So we all know that gold is one of the gold standard of deflationary assets. I would say compared to Bitcoin, the value it has is that Bitcoin is a liquid global standard for collateral. Like think about how inaccessible gold is to access in different markets. Bitcoin is off the bat accessible to everyone. Yes, gold has proven its worth over 3,000 years, which is fantastic, but across global markets from a third world country to a first world country, you can be able to use your Bitcoin to store value and even get equity or credit outside, whether you're in Kenya, in Tanzania, and the like. So it's a global liquidity collateral asset that is fantastic when it's compared to gold.
Awesome. Think let me take altcoins, but just to complement what Nombo just said, I think for me, gold is not the ideal type of money to be used because I can't send gold to Mohammed in Mombasa in under 3 seconds, right? So clearly, that does not work for my case. I need to share value to him instantly and pay for whatever I need to pay for, right? Leave alone the stress of securing or storing my gold. I can't do that, right? So yeah, back to the question, why Bitcoin and not altcoins, right? So for context, altcoins is any other coin, any other cryptocurrency apart from Bitcoin. Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency. So altcoins are the rest. So the rest are just projects from different people or different companies, right? So an altcoin or any other cryptocurrency aside from Bitcoin is run by a person, is run by a team, is run by a company. And that literally and clearly paints how centralized that system is, as much as they claim to be a decentralized system. I mean, if it's an office, it can be corrupted, right? That's altcoin for you. And they can choose to change or modify the supply of this coin to their own benefit. That's altcoin for you. Bitcoin is not that. Bitcoin doesn't have an office. Bitcoin doesn't have a CEO. Bitcoin is maintained by us, the people, all of us inside this room, across the world, who run this agreed software. And there are hard rules that cannot enable us to modify any supply of the coins in this protocol. So yeah, Bitcoin is the open, permissionless, and protocol for everyone without any central entity tied to it. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. So I'll take why Bitcoin is better than securities, right? Or equities, I mean.
Sure.
So like Fidel has mentioned, altcoins are essentially projects and they have centralized teams. So in essence, the whole project is centralized in itself. And I'd say equities, company shares is same model where the performance of the share you buy is dependent on the team. It's dependent on the CEO. If you bought when the CEO was a strong figure, keen on taking the company to good places, but then after a month, leadership changes and it's bad leadership, then you're probably going to lose your money. But then Bitcoin is built differently. It's designed to have a fixed supply cap. It's designed so that it's designed to be deflationary. So which means over the long run, its value is always going up. So it's in the math. As a long-term store of value, it's a best asset to have.
Okay. So basically what I'm hearing is the neutrality of Bitcoin is kind of the winning property. We've got about 10 minutes left, so I want to kind of really kind of focus the rest of this on the African context. Let's talk about cross-border payments and regulations kind of wrapped up in one. Robert kind of kicked off the conference by explaining how with the traditional system, so much value leaves the continent, right? When you have to do cross-border payments between the Naira and the shilling or the cedi, like it has to go through the dollar or the British pound, and all that value gets sucked into Europe, UK, the US. Talk to us about why Bitcoin is so unique on this continent in solving problems here for the 54 countries on this continent. Who wants to go first?
Me? We all know that Bitcoin is neutral. It doesn't require a central bank to facilitate movement of money, of value from one person to another or from one country to another. So being neutral is the best asset for cross-border payments. So in essence, I can send payments to my friend in Nigeria or my cousin in South Africa in an instant, depending on the rails I choose. So it's neutrality makes it the best for cross-border payments.
Anyone else?
So what I think about this, especially in the African context, right? If we all need to maintain the value across Africa without leaking any of this value outside Africa, we would need to maybe bring up all these different banks, African banks together, maybe 15 or 20 banks to come together to intentionally form a consensus on a payments protocol. We all know how the corporate side of things work. This would take a number of years. And a number of meetings, right?
They're trying to do that now with the PAP system, right? Pan-African payment system. They've been working on that it's like 12 central banks. It's not going anywhere. No one's using it.
Yeah.
And they have to pay for that. Taxpayers have to pay for that. Whereas here, the Bitcoin protocol, you got developers around the world that are building the system for you, right? It's a way lower cost of capital to build the system that's already working.
Absolutely. You just said whatever I wanted to say. Like, we're waiting for them. There is no movement, no growth. Where else we have Lightning here. We're moving value across Africa without any permission, without any meetings or corporate boards. Thank you.
Okay, so I think we're getting the time call. Oh, wow, they sped it up. All right. I guess I'll end it. I'm just going to read that quote one more time because it's so important that we get more businesses building on Bitcoin, build up the circular economies. So once again, anyone can point out what's wrong. That takes zero courage. Building something that actually works, a factory, a product, a protocol, a company that employs your people, that takes everything. Entrepreneurship is agency in its purest form. You stop asking for help from the government, you start making it happen yourself. So pick up a shovel, pick up a computer, pick up whatever it is you need to do, solve the problems for your community, and be like one of these heroes up here that have built tools to help us all break free from fiat. So thanks for having us.
This one.